Hey guys, it's Sabrina with Sabrina's Craft-nanigans. Welcome to Just Our Imagination, where we really got to use our imagination here. Hey guys, welcome to Sabrina's Craft-nanigans. A little short intro today for Just Our Imagination. If you like this little guy you're seeing right here, thank Brenda for making us use a cat litter scoop. Yeah, we did come up with some good ideas. Isn't it so cute? Anyway, there's another cute little more useful project in here that's very useful to me. If you've got kitties, this will be useful to you. So make sure you stay around, give those thumbs up, give those comments, share it out with your friends, and subscribe. Details on that giveaway will be coming up, I promise, if I haven't already given it out. You guys make sure you go check out my description box for the links to these beautiful host ladies channels. We've got Miss Kathy Jo from Kathy Jo's DIYs, and we have Miss Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY, and our guest host is Carolyn with Craft Classy. Woo, girl, she do some good stuff. You guys go down to that description box, check the host playlist links out to their channel, and also make sure you go check the playlist link for all these ladies who had to do things with pooper scoopers, wire baskets, and clipboards. Yes, we did. We appreciate y'all so much, Kathy Jo, Brenda, and Carolyn. Yes, thank you. Thank you. But we did come up with some good stuff. Love you guys. See you later. Bye. Okay, guys, take two. The first time I recorded didn't go, but here you go. You don't know that. So here's my wire basket that I got from Goodwill for $1. There's that pooper scooper Brenda wanted. Here's this little cute little hook plaque that my friend Randy gave me. Thank you, Randy. And we're going to hang a pooper scooper from the hook. That little plaque I got from Family Dollar Tree when they were all going out of business. So that was like 25 cents. You know, the kitty cat came from Dollar Tree at Halloween. I took my heat gun and I went ahead and popped the pumpkin off. Took my spackling or whatever and filled in the holes and sanded her all down. Made her pretty. Now we're going to take this cute little paw print card stock, but before we do that, we're going to give her a coat of white Waverly chalk paint back and front. There she is. Ain't she beautiful? Now, since she looks kind of Halloween-y, I'm not worrying about her eyes, nothing like that. We're going to cover that all up. So I'm going to take my ball de page and I'm going to give her a coat of ball de page, and we're going to let that dry real good. I'm going to use my heat gun to further and speed up that process because I have no patience whatsoever, especially now since this didn't record the first time. And then once this is all dry, we're going to take our parchment paper, but first cardstock. There we go, Sabrina. Get yourself together, okay? And then the parchment paper. Don't use wax paper, guys. Don't use wax paper. You'll end it up with all over your little mini press. Bad. Trust me. Ask me how I know. When I use this and I do this method, I always go from the middle to the outside. This usually leaves no wrinkles whatsoever, but especially if you go from the middle out, works good. Now, the paint was still dry on the back side, and that's why that was sticking, but you know what? It's all good. It's okay. I'm checking to make sure everything's stuck really good. Moose approves. So I'm going to take my scissors now, and I'm going to cut a lot of this extra paper off away around the edge, because instead of just using my little zip sander, I am going to play with fire. Yes, we are. So now that I've got a lot of that paper cut off, I started on looking at the back and setting my edges on fire, but then I realized that it worked a little bit better if I flipped it around, and then I could see it better. I just didn't feel like trying to get the zip sander inside between her legs and up around the tail, even though I still kind of do it a little bit later anyway, because I got to get off the burnt stuff, you know. But anyway, here's your little fire demonstration. This, I think, works better with tissue paper than it does with anything else. But if you got little bitty holes, like if I actually wanted to get her eyes and nose out, this would be the perfect thing to use because I don't think any fingernail file is small enough. So there I am taking my zip sander and I'm getting all the ash and all the burnt paper off. And I did need to use a little one to get in the little crook of her tail on both ends. And there she is. I'm going to give her a coat of matte Mod Podge because I didn't want her to be all shiny. And then there we go. And made sure my edges were sealed and going to let her dry. So now I'm going to take this little hook that my friend Randy gave me. Thank you, Randy. And I'm going to get all the paper off. This is pretty much like a Dollar Tree paper. I'm going to give it some water, let it soak. I scraped it all off. You can see it down there in the bottom right. While that's soaking, I'm going to take my basket. That little warm and cozy little plaque in the middle is just clipped on there. So I bent that up, pulled that off. I'm going to sand it down and repaint that later and put something on it. I hated to take the handle off of this, but it was really the only way this was going to work, and I had to have this basket. And look, that looks like a reindeer or something, guys. I got to make something with that. It ain't going in trash, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm going to try to, the edges weren't too rough, but I did try to take a very, very, very rough sanding block and tried to smooth those wires off a little bit. And then I'm going to take my black chalk paint from Dollar General, and I'm going to give everything 2 coats of black chalk paint, actually 3. I smeared it. You can see I got my dauber there in the cap, and then I do the pouncing method because I don't like brush strokes. What I'm doing right there is just drying the paw print because it was wet from me soaking it, and you need to make sure it's dry before you paint it. So there we go. Everything has been painted. Everything is good, ready to go. We got 3 coats. The first one I swiped. The second 2 I pounced. So there we go. This is Gracie approved. Now my bathroom little sign here that I got my friend Shelly. Thank you, Shelly. We're going to take Mod Podge and cover it with a coat of Mod Podge first so that the paint will stick to that metal. And I used Imperial Red on that. Now I got some little decals I made on my Cricut to put on the paw print and on the little sign that goes on the wire basket. That says, "It won't scoop itself, meow me." Because remember, we're going to hook the pooper scooper to that. So, got that. And thank you. I came up with that myself. I thought it was pretty funny. We're going to Mod Podge it later. On my little plaque that goes on the basket, I put all my babies' names. Hank, Gracie, Baby, Moose, and Bees. Those are all 5 of my babies. And I'm going to clip that back on and just squeeze the little metal bars back on around that. There we go. I do kind of straighten that up. It was a little crooked right there. I'm going to take some Mod Podge since this is going to be in their bathroom. They have a bathroom of their own. Yes, I have a 2-bathroom apartment. One's mine. The other one is theirs. So there you go. So I put Mod Podge on that. I also put a coat of Mod Podge on the paw print as well, just in case anything gets splattered, wet, messy, even around the edges. And I even put it on the hook down there. All right, now let's take our plaque that I got from Family Dollar for like 25 cents. I know that jute is going to have to come off because I know that that's not going to hold it. But while I'm still thinking about it and pondering, I'm taking my Burnt Umber by Apple Barrel and a wet baby wipe, and I'm just kind of staining that. I usually like using my Antique Wax by Waverly, but I knew I was going to have to get on that basket and the paw print and the cat, and glue will not stick to that. So I had to use the Burnt Umber, which worked pretty good. Now, I'm going to take these little hooks right here that are going to work a lot better than that jute twine, because what I'm going to do to this, I did not think that jute twine was going to hold it. Okay, so I have one of them in. The other one, I'm going to show you how I did it. So all I did, I got a very tiny screwdriver right there, like you'd use for your glasses or something. I'm poking a hole. That wood is very soft. I was able to poke a hole good enough to get the screw started. And then all you got to do is screw it down in, and that wood is so soft, it just screws right down in there. But not so soft that it falls out either. You don't want nothing too heavy in it, but what I'm going to do with it, it's going to work just fine. Then I press another hole, put the screw in, and got that down good. So happy with my little hangers there. Now you'll notice that the vertical little planks on the back still look white. That is glue all over the back of those when they put this together, so there was no way that paint was sticking. Okay, so my little paw print, I want the hook to be centered in the middle of that slat on the back. And then our basket is going over here on this side, and kitty will go up at the top. Bathroom will go on the kitty. This is how the final project will look, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we need to get our basket attached to this. This is going to be the hardest feat. Thank you, Shelly and Randy, for helping me try to figure out how to do this. Okay. So I'm going to take some pencil marks, and you can see I'm marking on those curved parts on the inside of the basket at the back. I put a mark on one side and a mark on the other side. So see how I got 2 marks? And between those 2 marks is where one of the wires looped on the basket, okay? I'm going to take my drill, and I'm going to drill holes where I made my marks. Yep, playing with power tools, but I was smart this time and remembered to get a board, so I didn't just drill through my table. So I'm going to drill the one hole, and then I'll drill the other hole. Here we go. There we go. Get it, Sabrina. There you go. There you go. I'm so proud of myself. Playing with power tools again. Try to put something together. So see, there's the 2 holes there. And then so I'll need to do it to the other 3 corners as well. So there we go. All corners done and did. I took my sander, sanded it up. It did splinter a little bit, but not bad enough that it totally broke between the holes. Now, so here we go. Setting our basket back on. Setting it where it needs to be, where I had originally marked it. We're going to take zip ties from the Dollar Tree. Yay for zip ties. Okay, now I drilled my holes a little smaller than the zip tie, so the zip ties I really had to pull through. I had to get my needle nose pliers to really pull those up through there, but that's the way I wanted it. I wanted those things tight. Okay, so I decided, okay, let's get the basket off, and we're going to pull all these up through here. Okay, and I started at the back and pulled them up through the front. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop them over the wire and then go back down out the back. And yes, it is upside down. Yes, I had to take this whole thing completely apart and get 4 new zip ties and do it all again because I don't pay attention to what I'm doing. I was excited. I was figuring this out. Anywho, we'll talk about that later. So here we go. So I went up over the wire in the corner, and now I'm going back down the other hole that I drilled. And see, I'm doing that in each corner. I got them started, and then I'm going to get my pliers right there to pull them up through. And this thing was tight. I was so proud of myself, but have yet to realize that this is upside down. And there was no just turning the little plaque on the front around. No, it's got 3 little compartments on the top that I'm going to store stuff in. See where I got the little zip ties, how it goes up and around? Those little curves, yep, still haven't realized it's upside down yet. Nope, sure haven't. And now I'm going to pull it tight and I'm going to zip it. I'm going to tie it. I pulled those suckers hard. I even, after I was finished, got my Titebond Quick and Thick multi-purpose glue and put glue on the ends of those things after I cut all the ends off. This thing wasn't going anywhere. But yet it had to because I put it on upside down. So I had to cut all the zip ties off and flip it around and start all over. But that's okay. More practice, right? Look, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. Look, I'm okay. We're going to cut these off. Here we go. I put some Titebond Quick and Thick on the back. Yep, I'm still clueless. No idea. Look at me. I'm so excited. I'm so happy and still have no clue. Okay, by this point, I've had the clue. You can see I've thrown it to the side. Okay, we're going to stick our bathroom sign on the kitty cat. I'm just going to take that Fix-All glue. That is awesome, amazing. I'm going to squirt that in the thicker spots on the back of that and stick it to the top of our kitty cat, just like that. Press it down. Use some heavy paint bottles to hold that down. So, yay, I finally fixed it. I turned it around. Okay, so we're good to go again. Now I'm going to put the little paw print on. I'm going to use Titebond and some hot glue to make sure that that sticks. Permanent hold, temporary hold thing. The toes do, even though I left the metal hook on down there, it does hold. The paw prints, the toe beans at the top do hang on pretty good to that second slat that's on there. So it did not hurt to not take that hook off. And remember that hook I've got centered right in the middle of that slat back there, okay? So that's glued. We're letting that sit. Okay, I'm going to take this Jenga block and I'm putting it on the back of the kitty cat because since she's going to be on the front of the board there, right above the paw print, there was going to be a lot of space between her and the wall. And you could walk by and like smack it and I was afraid it was going to break because it was too flimsy. So putting that Jenga block on the back, I'll kind of show you here in just a second. Once I get her, I'm going to get her little feet and her legs glued on. Oh, Beelzebub, if you hear the meowing, that's the Beelzebub. Okay, so I'm going to get her glued on here in just a second when I figure out where I want her to go, okay? Kind of lining her up. I thought I cut all this out. What in the world is going on here? Anyway, so see how I'm pushing on it and she doesn't hit the back? That's because I got that Jenga block back there. So, and that's even with those bars in the back too. So now I'm just making some marks to make sure that I put my glue in the right spot. And I do put the glue in the right spot this time, unlike my reindeer barn door project. And look, watch. I want to stop and I'm going to think, am I putting it in the right spot? Okay. So I use the Titebond and I do use the hot glue as well. We'll stick her down on there just like that. And she should be okay since that Jenga block is on the back. Look at that cute. Watch. Let's go check it out, guys. Here we go. So happy. All right. This is functional, even though I didn't get too fancy. So this is the kids' bathroom. You can see Moose back there in the back. Here's how it looks. I got it right inside the door. The pooper scooper hangs. And then there it's their bathroom. I like kind of how the kitty kind of has his tail up like he's going to go to the bathroom. There's the pooper scooper hook. It won't scoop itself, Meowmy. I got some little trash bags. I got some little trash bags and some Febreze because, boo, they got some stinky booties. And look at this. Look, boom, it's Moose approved. Or is it? We will never know. So I know I didn't do anything fancy with the pooper scooper, but hey, this is useful for me. This is great. This is awesome. I love it. All right, now it's the second project. This is a little bit lengthy, so some of these go pretty fast. So here's my clipboard because we needed to use a clipboard. And so I got that clip off of there, just using that red pry bar thing. Didn't need anything else. Now, I want to even that up. I want to get that off of there, of course. So I'm going to use my metal ruler and my box cutter, and I'm just going to keep giving this some slices until I can finally wiggle it, and it'll snap and break right off, kind of like the Dollar Tree stuff. There'll be a little bit of edge left right there, so I'll just take it and I'll just continue to use my box cutter and cut that off some more. And even though I use a ruler, I somehow still can't get things straight. But you know what? That's just how I am. I'm crooked as a dog's hind leg, as Kathy Jo would say. Anywho, I'm going to take my sanding block there and I'm going to sand that edge. Going to wipe her off. In a little bit here, I'm going to take that tag off the back. I'm also going to take my little zip sander and I'm going to zip zap. I'm going to sand. Oh my goodness, y'all, I'm tired. Okay, I'm going to, before I put that Waverly white on there, I'm going to take my zip sander and I sanded the front, sanded the back, sanded the sides around the edges and made sure the corners were rounded off pretty good. Okay, and now I'll take my white Waverly. I gave her one coat. And now what I want to do is I want to take the Snow White Waverly and some baking soda, and I want to give this a little texture because I want this to look like snow. So see how it's pretty thick right there? So I'm going to take this, and now I'm just going to kind of not necessarily brush it and paint it on the board, but kind of like just kind of slap it on there. See, I'm just kind of blah, 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 all over it. See? And I'm just, because I want it textured, I want it mushy. If you guys had salt wash, this would probably work a lot better. Whatever you do, don't use sand. Yeah, ask me how I know that. Oh, I won't tell you. I had to start this whole thing over. Yeah, anyway. Okay, here's these pumpkins from the Dollar Tree at Halloween. This is a 24-foot stack for $5. I'm just using the top one and the middle one. I'm not using the bottom one. I know they make snowmen stackables that are at the Dollar Tree, but I'm crafting my stash, people. I'm using my goods. So I'm using my Tite Bond Quick and Thick and a little bit of hot glue to make sure that the top stays connected to the bottom there. He's going to be a little snowman. I'm crafting my stash. He's a pumpkin snowman. It's all good. It's okay. He's going to be happy. Okay. So I make sure I wipe that off. And I must have sat there and held that together for like 10 minutes to make sure it was going to hold. I'm taking my zip sander and I'm just kind of roughing it up because that's some smooth plastic. And I wanted to make sure that it was roughed up so that the paint was going to stick. Now, I'm fussing here because, anyway. So we're going to take that paint and the baking soda and we're going to give her about 2-3 coats, I do believe. What happened is that I added sand from the Dollar Tree because I wanted more texture than just the baking soda, and that was too much texture. So I literally took these pumpkins to the bathroom, washed everything off, cleaned them up, and started over from scratch. And the baking soda will have to do. Yeah, okay. So that was 2 coats, and this right here, I'm giving her the 3rd coat right here. Not worried about the stem because we're going to put actually it's not a she, it's a he. But I color it anyway. Gonna have a little toboggan, a little cap on. See, that's where I was fussing at myself. Why are you even painting that? You're gonna cover it up. So here's another Pooper Scooper. Pooper Scooper number 2. I get a little bit more creative with this one. Getting the tag off. I got a little bucket here from my friend Shelly. Thank you, Shelly. And of course, it's the red and black buffalo check. Yes. And I got those little booty ornaments from the Dollar Tree. Yes. We're going to take those tags off. And I'm going to pull off the greenery. And I thought I was going to have a hard time. But boop, that just popped right off. That was easy. Those are going to be his little skatey booties later. I'm going to also, instead of the skate part being brown, I will paint those white. So he needs his little booties. We've got our bucket. We're going to have a little toboggan here. I'm going to cut the tag off of that. That's all from Dollar Tree. This was all in my stash, guys. Every bit of it. Or it came from my friend Shelly. Or it came from my friend Randy. I love my heifers. I love my heifers. Okay, anyway, so there's our goods. Now, he is going to be playing with a bucket of ornaments. So I have a ton of plastic clear ornaments. Thanks to myself and my friend Shelly, I'm taking that shredded paper stuff that is also in my stash from previous gift bags and baskets and everything. And I'm stuffing some of them with white. And I was just using a pen to stuff that in. And then I stuffed some of them with red. Actually, some of them already came with red, thanks to my friend Shelly. I have these left over from a project I did at Halloween, if you saw my witch and her latte cauldron. Okay, so my ornaments are done. I took my pooper scooper and I took my pliers there and I cut the sides off of those. Because what I need is, this is going to help hold my bucket up so that it looks like magic. And that's going to hold the bucket up like he's dumping out all his ornaments. Bloop, just like that. There. Now you see how that clipboard, that paint, it's dry. It's dried for 2 days. It looks brown, but I am going to paint it white so that it looks better later and not dirty and grungy. Yeah, the brown from the clipboard soaked all the way back up through it. Okay, we got to glue the handle inside the bucket, but as you could see, the handle was kind of hollow. So I've got this little piece of wood that came out of all my scraps and stuff, and I'm filling that handle with a ton of hot glue just to fill it up. I guess I could have used clay, I could have used whatever, but I was in a hurry and I knew the glue would dry faster. So I just filled that up to the top with hot glue, taking my Tight Bond multi-purpose quick and thick bond tight glue stuffs, and I'm going to just edge that, and then I'm going to put it on the end of my handle. This will give me more of a surface to put glue on. See, they're all flat. Now we want to get this in the bucket. I'm going to use my Fix-All and a little tiny bit of hot glue because we know the hot glue won't stick to metal very good. Before I do that, I'm going to flatten my bucket just a little bit so that, again, I'm getting a flat surface to work with. I got to have that flat surface. Boy, y'all, I'm getting tired. This is the second time I've done this. Blech. My jaws are hurting. I got the jibby jaws. Anyway, so I'm making my bucket flat, and then I've got my handle flat. So now hopefully I've got a good enough flat surface that this is all going to hold together. And so far, it's been 2 days, and it's held up. So, woohoo! Okay, so there's my Fix-All from the Dollar Tree. That's some good stuff, guys. You got to get some of that stuff. And I'm just going to just a little bit of hot glue there. Nothing too much, because I know it don't work that good. I just need something to hold it so I can get started, because I have no patience. So we're going to let that set up for a second. While that is setting up, I'm going to take my pumpkin here, and I'm going to figure out what I want to be the front, okay? What's the best looking part, okay? And then we're going to have to bake him some arms, and I'm going to have to get him a face on, okay? So the arms, I have these little picks here. There's a wire inside of it, and they're covered with like that brown paper stuff. I'm sure there's a technical term for that. It's kind of flower pick thing. Those were too thin. I needed wire. That's the thickest I had, but they still weren't thick enough because these are going to be his arms. So I'm taking some aluminum foil, and I'm going to wrap it up, and I wrap both his arms up twice with a chunk of aluminum foil. So he's got some big muscles. But see, it's still bendable. Yay, hooray. Now I got to make it look like a stick. So thanks to my friend Randy. Thank you, Randy. I've got this material here that looks kind of tree barkish, right? You agree? It's all I had that was brown. I thought it worked. So this chunk right here is enough to cover both of them. So I'm just going to fold it in half. I'm going to cut it right up the middle right there. Do, 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 do. Boom. All right. Now, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use my Aleene's glue to get it started because I was sure that the hot glue probably would not let the material stick to the metal. So I'm starting with the Aleene's. And then once I get it rolled, I'm going to sit here and roll it up like a burrito. Once I start rolling it, I'll get my hot glue because I know the hot glue will stick the material to the material. I just wasn't sure about the material sticking to the aluminum foil. So I probably have no idea what I'm talking about. And y'all are like, can you just whatever? Anyway. Okay, so here we go. Now we know we're about to roll around. So I'm getting some hot glue on there. And I want to start to roll it around. Making the burrito, a stick burrito. Look at there. Okay. Yep. All right. So I've got one totally finished. But let me show you how I finished it. So I just kept adding a little hot glue. I'd roll it, hot glue, roll it, hot glue, roll it. So I'm at the end of this one. There's a little bit of material left. I'm putting my hot glue down. And then I'm using my mat there. And I'm pushing down and I am rolling. Pushing and rolling and burning my hands off. Push, roll, and burn the hands. Push, roll, and burn the hands. Yep, that's what we do. That's how we roll. Now I'm taking it and twisting it, just kind of like I did with the aluminum foil. Kind of trying to get off a lot of that glue fuzzies and stuff, and I'm still twisting, still rolling, making sure it's sticking really good. And look, still bendable. So now we've got some stick arms. Look at that. Look at that. I was pretty proud of them. Now, I know those are awfully long. Don't panic. We're going to cut them. Better long than too short, right? Right. Okay, so I got this buffalo red and black material from the Dollar Trees. And I'm just kind of making me a pattern for a little mitten here. He's got to have mittens on the end of his arms, right? Yeah. And they got to match his booties. Yeah. So I'm making a mitten right now. And it looks pretty good. I'm pretty proud of this mitten that I drew. And it's a shame it doesn't turn out that way once I get it all done and glued together. But, you know, okay. So this is going to go kind of really fast. So I know I need 4 of them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to iron it, make sure my material's flat. And I flipped it so that I know I can get 2 out of that piece. Then I'll cut another piece because that'll be his other hand. I'll fold it, iron it to make it flat. We'll cut the mitten out. And so there's one hand, right? Front and back. And then I'll iron this one. Now I'm going to trace that one onto here so that they are supposed to be the same size, even though they don't end up that way, but that's okay. And so here's mitten number 2. Boop-a-doop. See? And I made sure my thumbs were right. Aren't you proud of me, Joanna? My thumbs are right. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to keep them folded inside out. Okay, got my mat back here. And I'm just using my hot glue to glue the edges, but I'm not going to glue the bottom because I got to turn them outside in, right side in, you know, back the right way. So after I get them glued together, I'm going to flip them back the correct way. And I'm going to stuff them with some polyfill. There's my bag of polyfill, which is actually just some stuffing out of an old pillow. And here's where I start pulling this out. And I'm like, this is the most janky mitten I think I've ever seen in my whole entire life. He's got pointy thumbs, and I can't stuff enough in that thumb to make it get round. And so he looks like he got Dracula fingers. And oh my God, y'all, seriously. Oh boy. Anyway, so far, we're going to get his little arm in there now. Because I left that bottom open. I got it stuffed. We're going to stick his arm in. I'm making sure everything's working here. I'm just going to put a bunch of hot glue down in there just like that. I'm going to take his arm, stick it, shove it down in there. And then I'm going to flip some of that material that I had folded back so that it wouldn't get stuck down in there. And then I'm going to take it. I'm going to squeeze it. There we go. Okay, so hand is attached to arm. Now we'll do the same thing with the other one. Now, I wanted his little mittens. Yay! This made me think I like Kermit the Frog when he always throws his arms up in the air. Yay! Anywho, I wanted his mittens to match his booties with that fur. The boots with the fur. So I had me a pair of white ones as well that I found. I'm just going to rip the fur off those white ones and put it on his mittens so that his mittens match his booties. Yeah, buddy. Now, what I'm going to do when I want to go use those white booties, I don't know, but I'll figure something out. Yep, I was just too lazy to go to my closet. Anywho, so I cut those down a little bit, and I'm just hot gluing just the little bottom fluffy part of his mitten there to his hand, and we'll roll it around, and now I'll get the other part. And then, of course, I'll do the same thing with his other arm over there. And then I believe once we get that on there, now see, now his mittens look like his booties. Look at that pointy thumb. Look at that. Oh my gosh, y'all. Okay, now I know these arms are too long. Look at that. It's like, it's the abominable snowman. So I've got them kind of wrapped around the back of his neck. Because at first I was thinking, okay, attached to the back of the neck. So what I'm doing with the Sharpie is that's where I'm going to cut them off. Because obviously I don't need them that long. So I marked both of them so that they're the same length, kind of, sort of. I was going to use my scissors and just cut because I'm thinking of going through the fabric, and I got my pliers over there to cut through the wire. And then next thing I know, boop, the scissors did the whole thing. I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. Now, you see that I took my Sharpie and I put black dots on the sides. Aha, I want those arms to stick down in his body, not wrapped around his neck. That looks better because I knew something didn't look right when I was wrapping those around his neck. So I'm going to take my little wood burning tool here in a second that I got from Dollar General for like 10, 15 bucks, y'all. That thing works good. Okay, so while I'm waiting for that to heat up, I'm just quickly drawing on a face and I'm painting it on. If y'all want me to, you can slow this down, but if you want to see some other videos where I paint faces and draw the faces, because this is I'm trying to work on this right now. You can go watch some of my other videos that I've recently done, but there we go. I promise I did do that, okay? This video is already long, and everybody else, you want to see everybody else, not me. Okay, so I painted all that on with a Sharpie and all that good stuff. Now, I took my wood burning tool. I burned a hole in the side of the pumpkin, making sure that the arm fits, but fits snugly. I kept checking it every once in a while just to make sure it wasn't too big. because that would defeat the purpose. I'm going to just coat this thing with a whole bunch of hot glue that ends up oozing out the bottom, out the sides, out the top, out his nose, out everywhere. See, watch it. Blech. Okay. But hey, we know it ain't going anywhere. And I did make sure that his arm was turned the right way so that his thumbs were up. You should be proud, Joanna. I made sure his thumbs were the right way. You're so proud of me. Okay, so I'm wiping some of that hot glue off. I also later, once everything is said and done, I take some white Waverly chalk paint and I do some touch-ups where you can see some of that paint had chipped and everything like that, getting the hole in there. I take my hot glue, I kind of go around all the way around the edge, and then you don't see this, but I also later go inside the pumpkin because he's hollow in the bottom. He doesn't have a bottom. And I go inside the pumpkin and put the glue on the inside as well. So there's both of his arms. Now, which look much better than around his neck. I added some more details to his face there with some paint markers. I did paint his nose in pumpkin Waverly chalk paint because just the orange paint marker I had wasn't working very good. Anyway, I glued his little booties on. And now I'm going to try to get this bucket attached to his hands. I'm using hot glue, the fix-all glue, and then you can see I took some jute twine and I tied those suckers because, like I said, I have no patience. I needed to get this done. So those are kind of holding his hands onto the bucket so I could keep working. So then I glued the rest of the pooper scooper to the clipboard down there at the bottom, which I will paint later with some white to make it look pretty. And he has his ornaments falling out of his bucket. They're going everywhere. I got the red ones and the white ones and little ones and iridescent ones. And then later I even go in with some of that foam ball scatter stuff that you can get at Dollar Tree that are silver and white and that are all different sizes. And I glued some of that in there too. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Now, of course, he needs a scarf. I got his hat on. You can see I took one of those florals that I pulled off the skates and I glued it on the top of his hat. And then that scarf, that is just flannel ribbon that I got at Hobby Lobby one year after Christmas. And it is like literally flannel. It's amazing. I decorate my tree with it too. Anywho's, and then, okay, I cut the jute off his mittens and that was a hot mess. So I took some more of that floral off the skates and I glued that on top of his mittens. If you're asking why in the world is he holding pine needles? Well, there you go. Okay, so took a little bit of that and I got that down on as his ornaments are dumping out, taking my heat gun just to get some of that straggly glue strings off. And oh my goodness, we're almost done. There he is. He's so cute. Now I know I probably put too many ornaments and it looks like I just stacked a bunch of ornaments up and I didn't really make it look magical like they're falling out of his bucket, but I was having too much fun having all these fall out of his bucket. Look, probably 2 of those balls would have fit in the bucket and that's it. But look at all that. That's magic. All those balls falling out of his bucket. He did the snowman playing with his ornaments. Isn't he cute? Look, I painted the skates white on the ends of his skates. And look at this. This is exactly what's happening right now. Yep, having a meltdown. Guys, if you have liked what you've seen and you had yourself a good laugh, make sure you like, give me a comment, give me a snowman comment, give me a kitty emoji, give me a snowman emoji, like, subscribe. You guys go make sure you go down to the playlist and check all these beautiful ladies out. Love ya.